Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is for Mr. Moodley, and it concerns the 355 ship requirement. As I hope you know, Mr. Moodley, this committee has taken this requirement seriously, as has the House Armed Services Committee, and we've included language in both authorization bills to facilitate this. I was disappointed to hear the acting Undersecretary of the Navy, Mr. Thomas D., say recently that the Navy's 355 ship requirement is probably out of reach until the 2050s. I'm frankly a little tired of hearing this sort of thing from the Navy. We had a 307 ship requirement. We had a 313 ship requirement. I would continue to ask about that. Members of this committee would continue to ask about that. And we would get lip service, but no action. Now, as I understand it, from hearings that we've had, generals and admirals throughout the service have been asked what the need is. Then we've trimmed it down to accommodate the fiscal constraints that we have, and that 355 ships is our minimum needed to protect the United States' interest. I'm glad to know that the Chief of Naval Operations supports this requirement. I am heartened to know that the Secretary of the Navy disagrees with Mr. D. And I think a 355 ship fleet should be our goal for the next decade. And I can tell you that members of this committee, the leadership of this committee, are looking at ways to make this a reality. So do you take this 355 ship requirement seriously, Mr. Moodley?
Yes, Senator.
And are you committed to achieving this 355 ship requirement?
Yes, Senator. If
confirmed, can I count on you to support the requirement without hedging and equivocation?
Yes, Senator.
The John S. McCain and Fitzgerald collisions reminded us that the Navy has a supply and demand problem. There aren't enough ships to meet growing mission requirements. We're going to try to do our part in the Congress. We need the top civilian and uniformed leadership in the Navy to get behind its own requirement. Mr. Moodley, what are your thoughts about innovative ways to accomplish this goal? Are there better ways to buy ships faster? What other procurement methods have you given thought to about attaining this 355 ship requirement?
Well, Senator, I think we're going to have to be creative, first of all, because the shipbuilding capacity needs to be invested in order to be able to meet this goal. We have ships that we currently have in fairly decent condition that have been mothballed, that can be brought out at a much lower cost than actually acquiring a new ship. I'm very much in favor of the frigate program, where they're going to be looking at existing designs rather than starting from scratch. There are proven designs, ships that are in the water that are performing missions around the world that we can look at. And I think those are some of the ways that we can really accelerate the path towards 350.
We can extend the lives of current ships, can we not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and Mr. Gertz, you're nodding your head.
Sure. Yes, sir, I would agree with Mr. Motley. I think you have to take a multiple approach here. Extend the ships you have as long as you can. Aggressively look to increase ship production at the max rate that the industrial supply can handle, and then work closely on those ships we may have in ready reserve that we could activate rapidly to get up on the step.
And to both of you gentlemen, isn't it a fact that our current shipyards have capacity for increased shipbuilding manufacturing currently? Isn't that a fact?
It's my understanding, sir, that they have the capacity, but to meet the goals, to get to 355, they're going to have to invest too, but they're only going to invest if they know there's a commitment from the Navy to do this. It only makes sense from them from a business perspective, and I support their perspective on that. So we have to show resolve that this is what we're going to do.
Thank you very much, and we want to help you from this side of the table also to show resolve, because our nation needs it, and the people who've stepped forward and volunteered for hazardous service in support of their country need it and deserve it. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.